Did you know 9 experienced hikers were found dead in the snowy mountains of Russia? Their tent ripped open from the inside, their bodies scattered across the ice, barefoot, half-dressed, and no one knows why. Some had broken bones, some had their skulls crushed, and one was missing her eyes and tongue. It's called the Dyatlov Pass incident, and to this day, it remains one of the most chilling and baffling mysteries in human history. So, what really went down on that mountain? You won't believe it! Let's rewind to January 23rd, 1959. 10 young adventurous hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set out on a challenging ski expedition across the Ural Mountains. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, was known for being calm, disciplined, and highly experienced. Their destination was Mount Otorten, a remote peak whose name in the local Muncie language ominously means "Don't go there." For this group, it was supposed to be a simple adventure, a test of their skill and endurance against the harsh Russian winter, but only one of them would ever return. Yuri Yudin, one of the hikers, fell ill just a few days into the trip and had to turn back. He said his goodbyes, wished his friends luck, and headed home, completely unaware that this unfortunate turn of events had just saved his life. Can you believe it? February 1st is just around the corner. Time flies, right? The 9 remaining hikers set up their final camp on the eastern slope of Kholat Shakhl, another mountain with a chilling name, Mountain of the Dead. The weather had turned against them. A brutal storm was brewing, with heavy snow, freezing winds, and visibility dropping to almost zero. In a decision that still puzzles experts today, they pitched their tent halfway up the exposed slope, instead of descending a short distance to the relative safety of the forest below. What were they thinking when they decided to do this? Right, it's wild! Perhaps they didn't want to lose the altitude they had gained. Or maybe they just underestimated the danger that was waiting for them in the dark. That night, they cooked dinner, updated their journals, and shared stories and laughter one last time. By the next morning, they had vanished. When the group failed to return on their scheduled date, search parties were dispatched. What the rescuers found defied all logic and explanation. Their tent was discovered, but it had been sliced open from the inside, as if the group had frantically slashed their way out in a blind panic. Leading away from the tent was a trail of footprints in the snow, some barefoot, some only in socks, heading down the mountain into the deadly cold. About a mile away, beneath a large cedar tree, searchers found the first 2 bodies. Near the remnants of a small, desperate campfire, their hands were burned, and branches high up on the tree were broken, suggesting they had tried to climb it, perhaps to escape something, or to see something. 3 more bodies, including Dyatlov's, were found scattered between the tent and the tree. They were frozen in strange, dynamic poses, as if they were crawling back toward the safety of their camp before collapsing. It took weeks for the final 4 hikers to be found, buried under more than 10 feet of snow, deep in a ravine. The injuries they had were just awful, really hard to look at, you know. The investigators on the scene were totally stumped, scratching their heads in confusion. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints other than those of the hikers themselves. Yet the injuries were unlike anything they had ever seen. One hiker had a skull fracture so severe it was comparable to the impact of a car crash. Another's chest was crushed inwards, as if struck by an immense, invisible force. And perhaps most gruesomely, one of the women, Lyudmila Dubinina, was found with her tongue and eyes missing. To make things even stranger, traces of radiation were detected on some of their clothing. Some reports even claimed their bodies glowed faintly in the dark. But the weirdest part, despite the sub-zero temperatures, Some of them were found wearing very little clothing. It was as if they had gone mad, tearing off their own garments in the freezing cold. This phenomenon, known as paradoxical undressing, is sometimes seen in victims of severe hypothermia, but it couldn't explain the violent trauma, the radiation, or the sheer, unadulterated terror that seemed to have gripped them. Over the decades, countless theories have emerged, each more disturbing than the last. Some experts believe a slab avalanche forced them to flee the tent in a hurry, but investigators found no signs of an avalanche at the scene. The snow around the tent was largely undisturbed. Others claimed it was a secret Soviet military test gone wrong, perhaps a new type of weapon, like a sonic device or a missile, that caused panic and internal injuries. This theory gained traction after a journal entry mentioned seeing bright orange lights in the sky that night. Villagers in the area later confirmed this, reporting that they too had seen strange glowing orbs over the mountains. Naturally, this led to UFO theories, with people speculating about alien abduction or an encounter that went horribly wrong. The glowing bodies, radiation, and missing organs only fueled these rumors. Then there were the more supernatural explanations, pointing to a curse from the local Mansi tribe, warning outsiders not to trespass on the sacred Mountain of the Dead. Some locals believed that vengeful spirits of the mountain were responsible for the tragedy. So, what do we think happened in those final terrifying hours? Forensic reconstructions have helped piece together a plausible timeline. Sometime after midnight, something, a sound, a light, a force, terrified the group so profoundly that they cut their way out of the tent and ran for their lives into the pitch-black freezing night, without shoes, without coats, in temperatures dropping below -20 degrees Celsius. They managed to make a small fire under the cedar tree, but 2 of them froze to death right there. The others, including Dyatlov, tried to make the impossible journey back to the tent, but collapsed from exhaustion and cold along the way. The final 4 sought shelter in a nearby ravine, but they succumbed soon after to massive internal trauma from an unknown source. We don't know what they saw. We don't know what they were running from, but every single clue, from the ripped tent to the barefoot footprints, points to one overwhelming emotion: absolute fear. The official investigation was shockingly brief. The final report concluded that the hikers died due to a compelling natural force. No further explanation was ever given. In the height of the Cold War, the files were classified, sealed, and hidden away for decades. The families of the victims begged for answers, but the state gave them none. When the documents were finally declassified years later, key pages were missing, and witness statements were redacted. To this day, no one has been able to definitively explain the strange burns, the bone-crushing fractures, the radiation, or the mysterious orange lights in the sky. Today, the Dyatlov Pass remains empty, silent, snow-covered, and seemingly haunted by memory. A somber memorial stone now stands where the 9 hikers took their final, fateful steps into the unknown. Every winter, the wind still howls through the frozen trees. Some say it carries the echoes of their screams. Others believe it whispers a terrifying truth that no one is meant to hear. But one thing seems certain: whatever happened on that mountain wasn't just a simple accident. It was something so terrifying, so powerful, that it pushed 9 experienced people past the limits of human endurance. And as the snow continues to fall on the silent Ural Mountains, the chilling question remains: what could have terrified them so much that they would run barefoot into the deadly embrace of a frozen night? Thanks for watching. This mystery is one that continues to captivate and frighten people all over the world. What do you think really went down? Drop your wild theories in the comments.